Welcome to the You Decide podcast. I'm Dr. Tiffany. We are going to bring you stories of ordinary people who have chosen to live an extraordinary life, outside of their comfort zones and into confidence, possibility, and certainty. You are just one decision away from living your most aligned life, because let's get real, that's what we all want. Hey guys, today we have Dr. Tonya Loken, naturopath in the FM area. We are going to dig into, well, who knows what we're really going to dig into, but the things that I really want to walk away with is how our bodies are handling the stress of COVID. And then some of the trends that you're seeing in women and maybe the same, exacerbated, or different than what they were before. Because, I forgot to say hi. Hi, T.
Hi. Hey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So excited. I've always said that COVID isn't going to cause more problems that weren't happening before. It's going to bring into light the problems that we had already. So if we think of that in terms of relationships or our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health, all the things that we're kind of like, I think something's off in my body. But we're so damn busy chasing the hamster in that hamster wheel that we don't really ever stop. So I think this is a forced stop, maybe, to take a little bit more of an inventory of how we feel. And then now to take how we feel and figure out how to actually do something about it. Because maybe you would disagree with me, but I think a lot of problems come in thinking about all the things that we're scared about and not doing anything about it. So, we have this mentality that we need to serve everyone else before us. And I'm talking about us women. So I just want to dig into your experience with women now, what maybe even comparing what they were like before, but then we can kind of close with some action steps too of what people can actually do to start to build their body from the inside out.
Yeah, that's honestly, every time I see you, that's our conversation, right? Is how do we come out of this on the other end? Different, but yet better, right? Because this isn't going away. If we haven't realized that, we can open up, we can stop wearing masks and socially distancing and avoiding slides at the playground, but world as we know it is different and changed, and COVID isn't going away.
Yes.
So reality check, right? Regardless of what the governor's talking about today, COVID's not going away.
100%. Yep.
And so I love that you mentioned this didn't cause anything, but it brought us aware of what's actually happening in our lives. So when you said that, I immediately wrote down e-brake, right? It was like our cars just went and put the e-brake on and we all just slammed into, stop.
Love it.
And I like analogies, right? Because that's how we kind of relate to life. But one of the things that I've seen most is that we didn't know how to homeschool our kids. We didn't know how to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. We didn't know how to work from home and be with our kids 24/7 and be with our husbands 24/7 and then be with ourselves 24/7, right? And I think that has just brought this whole awareness of, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was an issue. I didn't realize that maybe I'm our conversation between you and I earlier today was I don't think I could be a stay-at-home mom full-time 24/7, 365, right? And really reflecting into, okay, well, this is the reality right now. How do I make it the best I can make it and come out on the other side a stronger, healthier, happier human? And what do we do about it?
Right. And how do we get there? Because now we have stressed out women who love their work and they're not able to work with the people that they love to work with.
Yep.
And so now they're trying to work from home and trying to teach their kids, and they have absolutely no idea what to do and are super frustrated because they were forced into this. They didn't choose this for a reason, right? That's not good or bad. It's just like I told you this morning. You know, 4 hours a day with the kid might be enough to remind you that you weren't meant to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yep.
But that's the reality. So how do we get people's bodies to respond outside of a stress pattern? Because right now, that's what's happening.
Yep.
Right? And that creates issues.
And, you know, to be honest, when we say stress pattern, I don't think that most people that I've seen, that I've talked to, whether it's been friends, family, patients, you know, coworkers, I don't think that this, like you said, I don't think this is new. We just have an acute awareness of it because it's the only thing that we have in front of us, right? We don't have 75 sports schedules to bring our kids to. We don't have play dates and, you know, run this, there, and everywhere else. Like, we actually have to pay attention to what's happening in our lives. And I think that's been a long time coming, right? I think it's something that I try to get my patients to do all of the time anyway.
Right.
It's just really hard to do when you're being pulled in 75 different directions. We just don't do that anymore, right? Like, I think about the really, like, my kids too, right? So he doesn't go to, you know, a bunch of sports and things, but for example, we did swimming lessons last spring. 2 nights a week we had swim lessons, and that was about enough to drive me batty because it was another thing. It was another thing to add to our list, and it just took away from quality time, whether it was at home, playing outside, you know, checking in on our days, creating routine, creating some sort of normalcy. And we forget that, you know, even just that 1 hour sporting event or that 1 hour outing really disrupts a lot of what normalcy we maybe should have in our lives.
Right. Or that we forgot. We forgot. I mean, we have family meals every night now. Has never happened since the kids were probably 2 and 5. And that's when I was building a business. So I'm pretty sure I was the one probably not here, family meals, you know? So if we look back to the last time things were slower, and even for you, right? Like, it would be, I don't know, when you're in college, like maybe
right. Not that either, right?
Right. Yeah. So can you, just before we go into like some recommendations, let's say, can you just talk about what a naturopath is and all of the things that people have no idea what it is you do?
Sure. So if we get into like the nitty gritty technical weird, you know, what our spiel is that we're a distinct system of primary healthcare that treats the body as a whole. So that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo for, I think your body all works together. I think it has an innate ability to heal itself, right? And if given the right tools, and if we remove those obstacles, then the body can shift back towards normal function. As a naturopath, my belief is essentially that physiology doesn't become disease for the wrong reason, right? Essentially, your body was made to constantly do the right thing, but then something gets like a stick gets in the spoke. That wheel doesn't turn like it should, but because our bodies are so awesome, they adapt and they do things differently. And so how do we fix that spoke, right? How do we take that obstacle to cure out of the way? Because the body wants to resume normal physiology, right? So a really great example for my women is like insomnia, right? So you don't stay up because it's good for you, right? You don't just not go to bed because your body's like, oh, I'm a party animal and I'm a night owl and I'm going to just watch Netflix all night long. That's not actually what your body wants to do.
Right.
It's usually because you have burnt the candle at both ends for so long, you've stopped taking time for yourself, you've stopped actually checking in and saying, oh, wow, I'm tired, instead of having a blue screen in front of your face constantly 24/7. Your body says, well, if you're going to just do this, I'm going to help you do it more efficiently by making more cortisol, by decreasing your melatonin. Now you're awake at night, you're more productive, and you don't sleep as much, which you can sustain for a little bit of time. But then you come in and you go, oh, I'm so tired. My hormones are a mess. I've got hot flashes. I'm losing my hair. My periods are wonky. Okay, well, what happened first? Was it those things, or was it the fact that you weren't listening to, hey, it's 9 o'clock or 9:30, turn your glowing rectangle off and go to bed, right?
I love you.
Just saying.
Turn that glowing rectangle off and go to bed. I think I'm going to use that with my kids.
So in the short of it, right, naturopath means I really just think that we need to help people realize that their bodies are way more intelligent than they think they are. They don't often have a pharmaceutical deficiency or ever. And usually you have brought on sickness based on lifestyle, diet, sleep, right? There's something that's gone crazy in your life. And we just have to figure out what it was.
Yep. So this is very similar, obviously. This is why we get along, because our premise is the same.
Yeah.
Our body is brilliant, not broken.
Yep.
How do we help people see that the brilliance is in the sickness? Because when they're not sleeping, or they are anxious or depressed or whatever, have 1,000,000 different symptoms, how can we help them see that this is just the body's ability to adapt? Just like you said, amazing analogy, or not analogy, but all right, so if you're going to continue to stay up, I'm going to give you some more cortisol so you can think and keep going. I'm going to decrease your melatonin. So from the woman perspective, I'm not sleeping. Well, what happened up until that point for our body's brilliance to actually do what you're telling it to?
Yeah.
How do we, what are some tools or tips, or how do we help people see that it's brilliant?
Yeah, right. Because, this was a conversation I actually had last night on via Facebook with a friend of mine. And it was like, how do we tell people that, what you're doing probably isn't helping your sickness, right? I don't necessarily blame the patient, right? Like, it's not your fault that you're, sitting watching your glowing rectangle till 12 o'clock, but it's because you have a deadline and, like, you're a productive human and you want to get your stuff done, right? But how do we make them aware that there's actually a problem? Because modern society, or dare I say modern medicine, has told us that it's normal to be broken.
For sure.
It's normal to be depressed. It's normal to be anxious. It's normal to have constipation or diarrhea. It's normal to be tired and lose your hair and hate your husband and have no libido, and right? That's normal. Newsflash, it's not normal, it's common. So is that a reflection of your body's inability to do what it needs to do? Or is it a reflection of your lifestyle?
Yep.
And so, but we all live that
mindset, I would say, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Right, I suppose I could kind of go into there, but I see so many that struggle with this way of thinking of normal. And now they've been validated by their doctor to say, well, yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on. No surprise that you're feeling a little anxious. No surprise that you're not sleeping. Whatever. That is not a thing. So how can we, and then mentally they become a puppet. Mentally, they think this is normal, right? So what if there were more people like us that would say, bullshit, how you feel right now is not normal, and it is nothing that you should expect, but you have to take full responsibility for changing it, right?
Right. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I see is, oh, well, I just took this small pill every day and now I all of a sudden am happy. Like, are you happy, or are you numb to the fact that you're that you're actually miserable? Right. Do you actually feel happy? And that's one of the things that it's like, you have to have some emotion. There has to be some sort of up and down and negative, just zero space, right? Because otherwise you don't know what the other two are like.
Right.
But I think we've come to expect I just need to be happy all of the time.
Yep.
Well, that's also bullshit. So,
Yep.
right? Like, it's
Yep.
okay. It's okay to cry in the, car
Car
wash,
wash.
right? Like me last week, I was like bawling my eyeballs out. But, right? Like, how do you deal with it, right? We've also been told it's not okay to show emotion. It's not okay to cry. It's not okay to talk about a bad day, right? Like, just stuff it inside and it'll go away, which is also a bunch of garbage. And yeah, you know what? I wish every provider that my patients saw was like you and said, that's not normal. Like, we got to figure out why you feel like this. Like, this is not, this isn't something that we have to deal with, right? It's, no, this isn't normal. Let's figure out why your body's doing what it's doing and pull the e-brake and reset, right?
Right. Well, and I think like when you said we need to feel, I mean, good, bad, the more we can consistently feel, the more adaptable we will continue to be. I had I mean, you'll appreciate this just because in your world, you probably see a lot of it too, but I had a gal who had been medicated on a depression med forever, like 35 years or something. Gosh, this was like, 13 years ago. And she started getting adjusted and started weaning off the meds because they were doing the opposite. They were making her more depressed and more anxious, right? Because the body's using them better is I don't even know if that makes any sense, but that's what I've seen over my 15 years. And she eventually got off of them. And we were having a conversation and she said, I don't know if I can handle the ups and downs. And I said, regarding what? She said, I have never felt happy and I've never felt sad. I've always just been because that's what I thought was normal.
Yeah.
Because before I was medicated, I was like through the roof and then crash and through the roof and crash. So that was maybe just what needed to happen to get her body to start to adapt, right? Instead of the high roller coasters, how do we bring that down a little bit and have waves?
Yeah.
But now we take happy pills and forget how we're not even connected to how we feel, right?
Yeah. Because we talk about women, I also think, we also, in both of our practices, we see kids who then follow that same pattern, right? Like, mom is flatlined, dad's flatlined, and now kiddo is expected to also be that way. Well, if you would have been adjusted this morning with my 2-year-old, you would have known that he was not flatlined and was very excited about life. But he's 2, right? He doesn't really know how to handle those emotions. So why do we expect our 6 or 10 or 12-year-olds who are, their brains are still developing till they're 28,
right,
for them to be able to handle emotion and all of these like new life experiences? But it's okay. They have ADD. So we're just going to stick them on meds.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
we're just going to make them quiet too, because that's society normal.
Yep.
Right. And so I think that whole mindset has to shift. And I think patients are finally starting to look for something different because so-and-so, their friend or their colleague or their mom's daughter's sister, right, said, hey, I found someone different. I feel better. You should check them out. And I think that just needs to continue to happen.
Yep. Okay, so how do we build up that I'm just going to say immune system right now. I mean, there's a million different systems that we work in and they all work together, yes. But right now, with everything going on in the world and so much fear and so much focus on the body being weak, not strong, any virus is stronger than our body's ability to handle it, X, Y, Z, I could keep going. But what are some things that people can bring? You're like, oh God, do we go there?
I can't. Yeah, you
talk.
Okay, so this is funny because I'm pregnant, right? So for those of you who don't know, I'm 20 weeks pregnant, and I went and I got lunch today, and the lady who was serving my lunch, she goes, aren't you afraid of this virus being pregnant? And I was like, I mean, no more than any, like, no more than any other day of the week. And I think we are just living, and we've talked about this so many times, but let's tell everybody else. We are living in fear of something, we can't see. We forgot that our body doesn't, like, our body must know nothing, right? So as a species, we're super weak, yet we've been around for a real long time. And I mean, we don't have an immune system, right? Like, come on, people. You can't tell me that, yeah, if you don't know me, I get sassy sometimes because it's just stupidity. But what the problem is that we have lost all faith, right? We have lost all faith in our body's ability to fix itself, right?
Right.
We must need an intervention. We must need a pill. We must need a vaccine. We must need a shrink. We must need, like, right? We must need something to fix us. Well, what
from
about
the outside? From the outside, right?
Yes, like
yes.
interacting with you from the outside, changing the way that your body's doing what it's doing.
Yes.
Well, how about we challenge that idea and say, if I had everything that my body needed to do what it was meant to do, right? Self-preservation, right? If we go back, we're just all animals.
Right.
We are meant to survive as a species. If I gave my body everything it needed and I was worried about a virus and that it was going to kill me, I would have been long dead.
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what in the heck? Why have we just completely lost all faith in our body's ability to do its basic instinct is to keep everything that's from the outside out?
Absolutely.
Right?
It's what it does every minute of every day of every week.
Every single second, right? And if, so one of the things that I really like about my training is that I'm really good at physiology, right? I really understand biochemistry, like to the nerd degree. And I like it because I can relate that back to the patient and say, you know what? Every time you take a bite of food, your immune system literally samples it. It reaches up through your gut and tastes it to see that it's okay for you to eat. That's really cool. Don't you think that your other mucous membranes, like your mouth and your nose and your eyeballs and your skin in general, it does that too, right? We have all of those immune functions. They just have to have the right stuff to work, right? And if they have the right stuff to work, they're going to function so much better and keep you that much healthier than saying, oh, I'm just down for the count because something I can't see got into my nostril.
And now I believe that I'm going to be sick.
Yeah. So absolutely you will. If you believe or you don't, you will.
Yep.
You're right either way, right?
Yep, exactly. So what do people need if they're imbalanced in physiology and biochemistry, right? Which stress response creates imbalance in those two things, but we could just keep on going in circles, the spoke
all day. Yep.
So we're just going to focus on the immune system right now. But what do people like? What are the foundational components that you recommend everybody be on or take or eat from kid to adult?
Yeah. So I kind of made a little bit of a list.
Good.
I know you told me not to go overboard.
No, you just do whatever you need.
But we're going to go from A to D, A to E, and then to Z. So it's easy to remember.
Okay.
But if we think about immune function, right, we think about vitamin A. Vitamin A is so great at helping our body maintain immunity. And then our B vitamins are so good at that stress response, the adrenal glands, that cortisol, like, oh my gosh, I'm stressy, Susan, I'm running on, burning the candle at both ends. So not just one B, but the B and all of its friends, him and his 7 amigos. And then vitamin C, right? So everybody knows about vitamin C, but that's one of the things, right? We've got to have it. It cleans up the garbage. It goes around and like sweeps the street. And then vitamin D, it actually makes our mucous membranes and our skin more resistant to viruses coming in. viruses and bacteria, right? It's called defensins. So fun word. It's like kind of fencing off all of the things from getting into the inside.
Mm.
And then elderberry is our E, because we know that elderberry is so good at stopping viruses from getting into our cells in general, right? So viruses in general, elderberry essentially makes that cellular membrane thicker, and it doesn't allow viruses to get in. And then the last one is zinc. And, you know, I think a lot of people are familiar with like, oh, by the way, I took Zicam, right, when I got sick, or I took these zinc tablets, or I had a zinc lozenge, like, great. But some zinc daily, because most people I don't think are taking a good quality multivitamin, multimineral. And so adding some zinc to their life right now would be a good thing.
So is this all in addition to a multivitamin and mineral?
I would.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And these things are not necessarily, you know, lifelong. I need you to take it
right
for the rest of your life. This is like, hey, what am I having my patients do right now as an extra, like, I know you're a little bit stressed. You're probably not getting outside like you need to. You're like, let's just make you feel more comfortable about going and getting groceries and not coming home with the plague, right?
Right.
Or if you do come home with the plague, then, you know, your body's more equipped, right? It's more equipped to handle what's going on.
So can you talk about dosages or ranges depending on
who you are and how much you weigh?
Yeah.
So most of these are really safe, right? Like there's not a lot of risk of overdosing in the short term, right? So of course the caveat's always, if you're on any pharmaceuticals, if you're on anything that, you know, would interfere with this, talk to your doctor, call me, whatever. Find someone to chat with before you start taking, you know, a million things and you're on warfarin and a bunch of other pharmaceuticals, right?
Yes.
So, and also if you're pregnant, so vitamin A, short-term in pregnancy is okay. Long-term in pregnancy can be bad for baby. So vitamin A, I like that 10,000 IU mark. And most of these, for example, would be really easily found at natural grocers, or you probably have some of them in stock. Our online store has them. Like they're easy to find. You shouldn't have an issue.
Speaking of, before you keep going, what is considered short-term and what's considered long-term?
Sure. So short-term, I would say 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So 2 to 3 months probably would be, that's kind of where I would stop, say the vitamin A. You don't have to take elderberry in the summer really, but because this is going on, right, this is kind of where we're coming from that standpoint. So I recommended 10,000 IUs of vitamin A to most of my patients. I recommend a standard B complex with activated B vitamins in it. And when I say activated B vitamins, I mean methylcobalamin and methyl tetrahydrofolate. So if you look on the back of your B complex and it says folic acid, chuck it. Like, throw it out the door. You're going to spend a little bit more, but you're actually going to get use out of it. And then vitamin C. So this is the kicker. People are like, oh, I take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. I'm like, yeah, great and fine, but not going to help you. Not really going to help you, right? Like helpful as a daily dose, like great, fine. But if we want to prevent sickness, 2,000 milligrams 3 to 5 times a day. So a lot, kind of over the course of the day, because you couldn't do all of that at once, otherwise you'd be in the bathroom.
Right.
Right. If you need to be in the bathroom, then go ahead and take it all at once. But if not, spread it out.
By the way, bathroom, you mean poop, not pee.
Meaning, yeah, like diarrhea. Yes.
Yep.
And with the shortage of toilet paper, that would be a bad choice.
Oh,
right?
Gosh.
And then elderberry. So most standardized extracts of elderberry.
Just a minute, you forgot D.
Oh, D. Goodness. Okay, so this is an adult dosage for D. This is an adult dosage. So this would be 10,000 IUs for about 3 months. And that, for the most part, is going to get people to be a therapeutic level of like 60 to 80 in their blood. Here's the problem. Most people aren't getting their vitamin D tested. So come see me and just get your vitamin D tested. It is hugely important for mood and immune and preventing autoimmunity. Like, it is huge. So just get it tested, right? Like, we do it for $26. Just do it.
Yep.
And then elderberry. So 2 teaspoons a day for my adults. My kiddo really likes it, so I give in because I made it at home, and he gets like kind of whatever he wants to drink. I usually put it in his water because it's sweet and it has honey in it. It's got cinnamon and he loves the taste of it. So I usually do a couple dropperfuls for him. Like I said, not going to overdose. It's just, can you get it and you don't want to waste it. So 2 teaspoons is a good dose.
Do you sell that?
I actually made it. Oh. Yeah, so I've been selling bottles that I made for $5.
I want some.
Okay. Yeah.
What if other people want some?
What?
What if other people want some?
Yeah, they can just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, they can just get a hold of me. It's been out many places. So yeah, so I'm selling 2-ounce bottles for $5. Not appropriate for children under 1 because it does have honey in it.
Okay.
And then zinc. So daily 50 milligrams. However, if you come down with the sniffles or a cough or a something, you're going to up that dose to about 150 milligrams a day for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we're going to up these dosages if you're sick. And I would say that don't do it on your own. Call me, like find me, call you, like don't just start taking copious amounts of these things on your own because we're going to change the dosage. We're going to add a couple other things. Like there's going to be some specific recommendations if you do get sick, because this won't be enough. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
For the A, B, and C, what's the different? Okay, my first question for the B complex, is it just normal? You didn't say dosage on that one.
I usually just have people take like 1, because it's usually like 1 or 2 is whatever the dosage recommendation is on the bottle. Most of them are way over the kind of the daily limit anyway. You know, you're getting like thousands of %. Yes. It's fine. That one's not so much about immune system as it is about responding to stress.
Okay. And that you don't want to take that later in the day, right? I mean, if I take that later in the day, I do not sleep.
Okay. Then yeah, most people I have it taken before noon.
Okay. Yep. So A, B, and C, are there different dosages with kids? Are there any that kids shouldn't take?
No. I would have my son takes all of these. The vitamin A dosage for a kiddo is going to be if my kid weighs 30 pounds. So I usually give him about 1,000 IUs of vitamin D. Okay. I'm sorry, of vitamin A.
Yep.
So, kind of age appropriate thinking, gosh, if I weigh 150 pounds and my kid weighs 50, I'm going to give them 1/3 of the dose.
Got it. Awesome.
And also reminding ourselves that short term, we're probably deficient anyway.
Right.
Probably not a lot of risk of overdosing on vitamin C, except for the diarrhea.
Right. I did that one time.
Once, exactly. You'll do it one time.
Holy Hannah.
So the other thing that I wrote down that I think is important is like, hey, let's think about food, right? Like, why do we have to, I'm not a pill friend, popper. I have a really hard time. And so what are we eating right now, especially, right? Like we're getting more citrus fruits, right? Those are really great for vitamin C. Bell peppers, really great for vitamin C. Broccoli, we can take care of A, C, E, plus that antioxidant capacity. If we're thinking about immune boosting stuff, garlic, ginger, like hugely antimicrobial. And then people are like, they love to drink tea. They love to drink, iced tea in the summer. Like green tea is so full of antioxidants. As long as you're not, making it full of sugar, it's great. And then how about food sources of zinc? So a lot of people around here don't like seafood. However, shellfish, a really great source of zinc. So if you're like, hey, I need an excuse to eat, you know, mussels and shrimp and lobster and clams and crab, because now it's like, you know, summer and we're having barbecues and like you're going to throw something in on the grill, that'd be perfect to just add some extra food sources of zinc into your life.
Awesome. What should people avoid? Like what will break down the immune system?
Yeah. So I like to call, like, I came up with some basic treatment guidelines, right? Things that I think will just help in general. One of the things on there is sugar, right? So avoid sugar. I don't care if it's, you know, it's the processed sugary crap. We're all like, oh, well, we can't go see our friends, so let's take our whole family to Dairy Queen for, you know, a truckload of ice cream. Well, perfect.
Dairy plus sugar.
Exactly. So I often will have people kind of just follow that anti-inflammatory whole food type diet, but specifically sugar and refined processed crap.
Yep.
Right? Like that's a good way, especially now, like the last thing I want to do is overwhelm you with more
Rules.
treatment recommendations that are already hard for you to follow because this is not the world you often live in, right?
Right.
But the basics, right? Like make sure you're just not eating packaged, processed, sugar-filled garbage.
Yep. Okay. And
Did we talk about sleep?
No.
Well, that's been a really big question for a lot of my patients is, okay, you're working from home, your kids are running around, they have no structure, you have no structure, you're staying up late because you need mommy time, you're getting up late because you don't have to be to work in your, 9 to 5 outfit with your hair done and your makeup on. Where did your sleep routine go? Out the window.
Yep, for sure.
And so if that's one thing that I have really been encouraging is go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time, create a routine for yourself, even if the activities in that routine are different, they still happen during the same time of the day, right? You still eat at noon, you still eat at 5, you still go to bed at 9 and you get up at 6. Like something like that, because our adrenal glands really like that routine and they depend on it. And when they don't have it, it creates more stress in the body.
Yeah, I think that is definitely an underestimation right now. The majority of people that I talk to, at least, they spent 2 to 3 weeks in like hunkered down vacation mode. They cleared the grocery store of the fun food and the crap until they realized like, whoa, we might be here for a while. And I can even speak for myself. You have, I cook 2 to 3 times a day because everybody's home. That's crazy. That's nothing like what we've ever done. So how can you continue to meal plan, grocery shop appropriately, not feel like you're on vacation all the time and sit and watch Netflix for 6 hours because you're going to be depressed real soon.
Yeah.
That's not what we're supposed to do,
Right. And so that's even been, myself thinking about talking with my friends. And I think most of the women that are probably listening right now are also like us in the sense that they have purpose, right? They want to have purpose in their lives. They want to have some sort of kind of give back, whether that's through service or to their children or to their career or to their families or, whatever it is. Don't let that go by the wayside, right? Just because I'm not seeing, 60 patients a week anymore, what can I do outside of that to still serve that population who's staying home? And how can you create that for yourself so you still have your sense of purpose and kind of belonging in this really like kind of shaken up world right now, right? I kind of feel like we're all in a martini glass getting shaken up.
Yeah.
And we're just going to all pour out and we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the right words to use or whatever, but I've always said the ones who innovate will be the mentors to everyone else. The businesses, the people, the situations that are innovated, that can offer something to the world that is maybe different than what they've ever done. Maybe they just had to pivot a little bit. Those people will fly. It's the ones that are avoiding, numbing, defenseless, right? Or ducking, just kind of ebbing and flowing through whatever they say we need to do, are the ones that are really going to struggle when the world opens back up, per se.
Right.
Because they don't know their place anymore. It looks completely different. Their home looks different. Their relationship is different. Their money is different. Their job's different. Their health is different. Their perspective is far different. Their values are different. Their priorities are different,
Yep.
So we don't then have awareness as to like, what are my gifts? What's my genius? And how can I offer it to the world? It's going to be a struggle.
Absolutely. And so right now, when you have all this downtime, right?
Yep.
Create that for yourself, right? Because there's a lot of people, I think, who have been wanting to create, reconfigure, reimagine. So use that time, right? Like maybe it's nap time, maybe it's, kid iPad time. Like set that hour aside for yourself, because that will help your health and your mood and your brain and your thoughts and right? It'll help all those things.
Yep. I think what you just said, like put your kid on an iPad for an hour. I think there are a lot of people struggling morally with this quarantine and kids being stuck. It doesn't matter if they're one or they're my 15-year-old that would like to game and probably does the majority of the time. This isn't a normal phase. So how can we like let go of the reins a little bit, knowing that we can get it back, right? So you might not believe that your kid should be on an iPad when they're one, but maybe sometimes it's okay if it serves everything more. You, AKA you. Maybe your husband and you need just a little bit of connection time. And that's a movie for your kids, right? Like it's interesting how people are really struggling with that value.
I think the takeaway, right, that I try to tell people, whether it's what your kids are doing right now or what you're doing, say rewind 6 months, like it's not what you do occasionally. It's what you do routinely that makes the biggest impact, right? So,
right.
Okay, so what? Yeah, my kid watched Blippi this morning because I had to like get ready for the day.
Right.
Okay, yep, he watched Blippi last night because we were doing laundry. But it wasn't for 3 weeks in a row for 8 hours a day, right?
Right. Yep, I think that's a big, and some of it is just people being rigid in their thinking, and this time is completely different than it was a month ago. So how we parent, how we guide, how we lead our family is inevitably different because our values now have changed, and so have our priorities in our house. And so how do you not like just roll over and play dead? I mean, some days we want to.
I might, some days, yeah. I just like, I need a minute.
Take a nap and stay in your crib. Right.
Just kidding. I think that's really funny though, because, it's like when we've said this a lot, and I think I've read and seen, whether it's social media or on the internet or on TV, it's like homeschooling right now or crisis schooling right now isn't what normal school is like, right? Life and family right now isn't what normal life and family are like, right? It's just, what do your kids need from you? What do you need from yourself? And what do you need from your relationship, right? Probably your kids just need to know that they're probably, like I even think about my 2-year-old. Does he know what's going on? No, but I don't think he's stupid. Like, I think he has a sense that things are different. Right? He just needs to know that mom and dad are there, that we love him, and that we're going to protect him, right? And maybe that's all that our families really need right now, is to know that we're a unit and that we're cohesive and that we're all there for each other. Maybe that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's so much in that, families who really needed a break will thrive because they
Yeah.
needed just to be with each other, and families who needed to break relationships will, from that perspective, because now in this chaos, crisis, uncertainty, fear is just going to shine a light on what was already happening. But we didn't have the brain space or awareness to even know what to do and know how to do it. So I think in this whole, there's a lot of heartbreak, and I'm not underestimating any of that, but it's going to 100% change our world, and how we adapt to it is truly our responsibility. And how can we create or be the light, create more opportunity for ourselves and everybody around us by, like you said, creating more, reconfiguring, reimagining, taking a risk, having some courage and follow your dream, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just truly that family unit is now at home, and it gets to work on themselves. It gets to have quality time, and it gets to decide, are we doing this or are we not? It's all good, whatever way we decide to go. That does not underestimate my heart for the households that are not safe. So I want to make that makes my heart hurt a lot, because those kids' safe space was at school, or maybe that woman's safe space was at work, or that man's safe space was at work. And but once again, we're going to start to see strong moving forward or not, and not be controlled by the busyness that's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to leave all of these beautiful people with?
I think everybody has heard this so many times, but unfortunately, we're all in this together. And don't be afraid to reach out, right? I did a presentation yesterday for one of my networking groups, and I said, even though we're not coffee connecting, we're not lunch connecting, that doesn't mean that you can't send a gift card or send a letter or send a text, or reach out and ask for help if you need it, and just connect with your humans that you normally would see in person, and make sure they're okay. Because, if you change and kind of connect with your community, that's the biggest impact that you can have, right?
Yep.
Versus kind of worrying about what everyone else is doing. Worry about, how you can impact your people in a positive manner. And then if you are the one that's struggling, know that you're not alone, because I think a lot of women feel like they are, right? Whether it's health issues, mental issues, whatever it is, we're not alone. You're not alone. They, I'm sure, can call you, see you, stop in, whatever that looks like. And that invitation is there for, these people, hop on my schedule. I'm doing phone visits. I'm chatting with people on the phone. We're doing e-visits via, telehealth, whatever it looks like, just find someone to reach out to if you need help.
So on that note, do you, is the best in our show notes just to put your email in there, or will we have a link that they can schedule with you?
So online scheduling is not a thing. However, they can go onto the Catalyst website and actually just chat with Carissa, and schedule that way. Okay. They can also send an email, and I will give you that in the show notes. Okay. And they'll forward that to me.
Perfect.
So that'd be a great way. Otherwise, they can always pop on the schedule for a 15-minute call, or whatever they need.
Yeah, well, I think just the first things first is to have the courage to pick up the phone or write the email to say that they want a different perspective or they need help or whatever that case may be. Then you can lead them.
Absolutely. And it's actually a little cute chat box. You don't even have to formulate an email. You can just chat with them.
Yeah. See, that's awesome. Oh, I wrote, in the beginning, I wrote, how can we be more connected in a disconnected world? And I'm thankful that you are helping people be more connected in a disconnected world, because it is disconnected right now.
Yep.
And we get to choose, we get to take responsibility for what we can do and how we can contribute. And there are so many, like, well, I have 6 pages of notes. So many things that people can take from it just to implement right away, or tweak the mindset on what health is and what happiness is and what ease is. And we share so much of the same philosophies on brilliance of the body that I'm thankful we're on the same page. And all the people that work with both of us get the same message, because that's part of my work too, is finding people that can uphold the same message.
Right.
That when I refer for hormonal work or whatever the case may be, that you're not going to say, well, yeah, you are broken, you need this to fix X, Y, and Z. No. So I'm thankful for you. Very thankful for you.
Well, I'm glad that you are thankful, because I am also thankful, which is why if you happen to be listening to this and you're not a patient of Dr. Tiffany's, please go see her. I will tell you that after this baby is born, we will probably stop by her house or bang on her door, or, just maybe come to the office. I don't know. And get this baby adjusted, because I think it's really important to have mind, body, spirit, right? And physical, mental, emotional, all connected, all together. And often one of those puzzle pieces is missing.
Often. Yep. And unfortunately, we're missing the awareness as to what part is missing. So, and then the more we listen to fear-based recommendations, the less we're going to be aware of what our body's actually telling us. So
absolutely.
Thank you for the compliment. And yes, everybody needs to be adjusted. Hello. Right? Doesn't even make sense to me. It is what it is. All right.
Until next time.
Dr. Tonya, I suppose I should call you.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. We're both T's. We're T squared. Okay, thanks again. We'll it would be fun to do something in the fall again, as everything will look different, of course, but I think this is so valuable for people to maybe see it in a seasonal basis as to what their body needs and how to make it work the best it can. So thank you. Love you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you so much for listening and being willing to go all in. Ditch the excuses and the comfort zones and make a decision that nothing can stop you. You can find the show notes below, and I'd love for you to share, subscribe, and rate this podcast, but only if you love it.